late as far as in the OR. I try to have interaction with 7 to 10 physicians or other call points a day. A little less than some jobs, or but now it's 7 to 10. So either emailing, talking on the phone, being in front of, interaction, moving forward with them. Try to do 7 to 10 a day. Typical surgical case lasts 1 to 4 hours. And the keys to success, I'm thinking more than I thought. You got to know your product and clinical knowledge. There's about a 90% chance that I know more about hernia mesh than that doctor does. Just because they don't have time to be keeping up on everything in the world about mesh, but I do. That's all I focus on. So it's not uncommon for a doctor to turn to me and say, so how do I put this in? And the best answer is, just do it like you normally would. Or typically, I've seen other physicians do it like this. I never want to be giving medical advice, obviously, because I'm not a doctor. But it's so important for me to know product and clinical knowledge, because they'll throw that as an excuse. And so if I can say, oh, actually, doctor, according to this study, or according to this person, it's like this. So that is key in my job. And you're talking to the ortho reps, they know their stuff back and forth. The good ones do. And so if that's something that interests you, it's a great place to be. Relationship building, you got to get to know people. If you can't build a relationship, then it's going to be tough, honestly. It's again, of course, some of you probably didn't start a mission of like along the low as I did. Back when I did it, we focused on BRT, build relationships of trust. I don't know what you guys do now. But it's the same thing. They have to trust you. I had a doctor, another one of them, there's 6 surgeons using our stuff in Casper, and I had never done a procedure with him, but I talked to him quite a bit. And we had a good rapport, and he was doing a hernia on a 16-year-old kid. Well, if mesh is going to shrink, why would you not want to put it in a 16-year-old kid? Is that kid done growing? No, so it's just a mess. It's a recipe for disaster. And I said, so you're going to use mesh on this? He's like, yeah, you told me it wouldn't shrink, right? I'm trusting you. Should I use it or should I not? I said, yeah, put it in. He was okay, let's do it. And he's had great results with it, but what if I wasn't sure of my product? Or what if he didn't trust me? If I came off like a slick salesman, he didn't trust me, how's that going to go? And the end result, that patient would be worse off because he wouldn't have the hernia fixed the best way possible, or he'd have an inferior product in him he's going to come back 4 years later and get it fixed again. So if you keep in mind outpatient outcomes and helping the hospital or your physicians with their costs and being a better facility, then you're really going to have a success. Patience. Sometimes it can take a long time to get someone really converted or really on your product. And so sometimes you put this hospital on the back burner and you focus on someone else and you come back around to them. So you got to be patient. It's easy. We want to go, get in front of them, and sometimes you got to back off a little bit. Confidence. Again, you got to be confident, not only in yourself, not egotistical, but you got to say, hey, I'm here to do a job. I know what I'm talking about, and I'm here to help you. And I know my product benefits people more than the competition. So if you can do that, and you feel confident, again, I'll harken back to the mission. A lot of who spoke a foreign language? God spoke Spanish on our mission. Okay. How much easier is it in month 8 than it was in month 1?
A lot easier.
And the biggest reason because you can speak the language?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's all about, because you're confident. You're like, I know I can do this now. So it takes time learning. And sometimes you learn by process. You make a mistake. And work. It's not an easy job. You got to be out there. My boss lives in Boise. I see him like once every 3 months. I could be doing who knows what. So it's all about I got to keep. That's why that first picture I showed with my 4 kids, I have to work. I got 4 kids. And so you have to be out there constantly, be willing to motivate yourself and get out there and see people. And then flexibility. You got to be flexible. Sometimes your day is over at 3 o'clock. Sometimes you're driving to the next place and you won't get in there until 9 o'clock. Sometimes you'll get a call from a physician that says, hey, can you be here tomorrow? And you're like, well, you live in Buffalo. Yep. okay, I guess I'll see what I can do, you know, and you change things around so you can be there. So and flexibility of your family, I'm gone usually 1 to 2 nights a week, overnight. And so there is, because I cover such a large area, it's not always that way. A lot of people don't do it that way, but I have to. And so my family has become flexible. There's some advantages to it. Sometimes the family comes with me, you know. I'll never pay for a hotel room for a long time because I get all the points, because I stay at Holiday Inn every night. So, you know. So there's some benefits, and I get to see, you know, a lot of neat places. But first of all, I may have any questions. I've kind of rambled through a lot. What are some questions?
How has the medical device tax affected, I guess, the industry and your company specifically?
You know, we haven't seen much. Because everybody is angry about it. You know, so it's not like they're saying, "Hey, you surgery mesh, you're taxing us." It's like, no, it's not us. You know, so we haven't seen a much kickback. I know I have heard there's been speculation. I think where you're going to see it is on capital equipment, the big equipment, is where you're going to see it more, because I mean, an extra tax on $1 million piece of equipment, that's going to catch up with you. But the hospitals now are more price conscious than ever, and so that's why you have to have a strategy on price, and that's why, again, like I talked about earlier, price versus cost. You got to know what you're talking about and be able to make a strong case for why your product not only is better clinically, but can save them money at the same time. So as an administrator, you guys are going to want to know that when you're dealing with reps, or when you're a rep yourself, is what can these people do for my bottom line? Because there is a bottom line attached to it. No one likes to talk about budgets and profit in medicine, but there is a definite need for it. Any other question?
Is this something that you need a master's for to do? Or?
No. Bachelor's degree usually is what is required. Experience is the best thing you can get. The hardest thing about medical device sales is getting into it, is because they all want operating room experience, and they want relationships a lot of times. I came from respiratory sales, where that's why it's very hard for pharmaceutical reps to go into medical device, because it's a whole different sales call. Even though what I was doing, I was selling both pharmaceuticals and medical equipment. I dealt with hospitals just as much as I did doctors. And so a lot of times, like especially in orthopedics, they'll have an associate rep. You may know what an associate rep is. Basically, you're like a rep's assistant. They'll cover cases they can't get to, but you kind of keep your mouth shut. You run a lot of products from place to place. It's on-the-job training. And you know what they do is they train you for a year and a half until you really get up to speed, and then they say, okay, we're going to give you a territory, and you got to move somewhere else and get your own territory. But you really got to cut your teeth on day-to-day on-the-job training. And so, once you have a degree, you're in a good spot. It's just then and they're becoming a bigger fan of business-to-business sales. Copier sales, for some reason, they love copier sales. What I was in advertising. They like that. Anything business to business, without pounding the pavement, cold calling, talking to people. They love to see that if you're trying to get into it.
So, just curious, along with that, how do you locate one of those opportunities to be an assistant?
Honestly, I've seen the different companies' website. You go on like the Stryker's website. They have a little job opening portal. Most of them do. Recruiters. So go on LinkedIn. Every recruiter will accept your invitation. Just look up medical device recruiter. Go on mine. Look at all my people. You'll see a bunch of recruiters on there. If you want to connect with me, send an invitation. I'll accept it. And you can look for all my people. You'll see a bunch of different. Some companies have their own recruiter. Some companies use an independent recruiter. And if you're looking and contacting recruiters and say, hey, I'm looking for this, but I'll be honest with you, if you're looking to stay around Idaho Falls, good luck. Very few companies will keep a rep in Idaho Falls. The orthopedic people do, my company does, but most don't.
Is the demand pretty even, or is there like specific spots in the country that are demanding more?
Your bigger cities, for example, I know an orthopedic rep that doesn't leave the University of Utah Hospital. That's all he covers. There's one hospital. That's where his business is. Any major city is going to have a lot more opportunities. And you might keep 6-7 reps You know, I think Salt Lake, I think Stryker, just in their joint reconstruction has 6 or 7 reps. You know, they cover basically the Salt Lake Valley up to Ogden. You know, because there's a lot more doctors there. You know, and so it's all about finding, you know, where the jobs are. But if you know, it's like any other job search. But recruiters are great. LinkedIn is a great place to start. It really is. Recruiters on there, people who work. You can find out who the manager is. You know, if you have if you're a rep in a certain area, you want to get to know. Just call them up. Say, hey, I'm interested in what you do. Let me take you out to lunch and we'll talk about it. I want to ask you a question. Who's gonna turn down a free lunch? Seriously. You know. So, any other questions? And we can talk after class if you have specific questions. I wrote story time here because I got a couple of stories.
Could you wrap it up in 5 minutes, Chris? Is that okay?
I can try.
Yeah,
I
just
can.
close to that.
Yeah. Disgusting, huh? This was actually a case with Dr. Hansen here in Rexburg. He's a surgeon. And these are 2 pieces of mesh that he implanted in a patient 3 years ago. And what happened, look at this one. It's all folded up and nasty, huh? So he removed it. He removed these 2 pieces of mesh from this patient and put in 1 piece of our mesh. But you can see, it's pretty disgusting. Imagine how that patient felt having that inside. Another story which I like to tell, there was a doctor who hadn't done any work in Cody, Wyoming, which is another place that's really hard to get to. But I get a phone call one day and I'm like, hey, this is Chris. He's like, is this the mesh guy? I said, I've been called that, yeah. And he's like, Dr. Evans, Cody, Wyoming. I'm like, oh, Dr. Evans, what's up? I've never used your mesh. I said, yeah, I'm aware of that. And he's like, well, I got a really bad case that I was told that you're the guy. I said, okay, what do we got? He's like, just bring everything you have and be here on Wednesday morning. So I go out to Cody and I'm like, hey, doctor, what are you doing here? He's like, we have a series of lumbar hernias. I'm like, can I make a phone call? So I call my boss, I'm like, what's a lumbar hernia? He's like, I'm not sure. I've never heard of a lumbar hernia. He goes, call me if you need something, but call this person if you need something else. So, you know, so we get in there, and what happened to this lady, she was she did industrial clean. So construction site, she goes in afterwards and cleans it. And she got electrocuted. And if you know anything about electrocution, if electricity goes in your finger, it's gotta go out somewhere, right? Usually your toe, right, going out. Or hers went out her side. So imagine electricity going through your side, it's gonna tear you all up. Cool. She developed 4 hernias back here. So, again, MacGyver medicine. So he's like, well, here's what we're gonna do. So what he did is he opened her up, and he's just cutting away. You know, she was a larger lady. He's just cutting away fat and digging in, and he had to change his gloves 3 times because of all the grease and fat. Yes, we're greasy inside, if you didn't know that. And so he gets all through her, and I'm standing back, and okay, when I'm in there, I stand where the doctor can see me, so he can ask me questions. I'm wearing a mask, and a scrubs, and a head thing, and shoes things, and I just stay here and answer questions. He says, mesh guy, get over here. Come take a look at this. You ever see a kidney? I'm like, no. He goes, check it out. Hey, put a glove on. You want to poke it? I'm like, no, I don't want to poke a kidney. I don't think I'm allowed to poke a kidney, honestly. You know? So I said, no, I think there's some sort of HIPAA rule. I'm way violated if I poke a kidney. You know? And so, it was a 4-hour procedure. We repaired 4 hernias with little plugs, little small patches basically, and then wrapped it in 1 big piece. And he has not used another company's mesh since. He's ordered a bunch of it, made me a lot of money. It's a great doctor to work with. I would let him cut on me, which, believe me, not all doctors, some doctors would not let touch me. And you'll learn that real quick. But, and we can talk more afterwards, but it's a very good career, but it's not, if you want to get into it, go into it with a plan. It's going to take some planning and timing and effort to get into, but you're definitely in a good spot. And if you're willing, you know, to not live in Idaho Falls, there's a lot of opportunities of other places. So that's what I got. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to talk to me afterwards. I got business cards if you want to take one, and you can email me or call me up anytime. All right? Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Chris, for coming. That was awesome. I learned a lot. I just love the dynamic. I didn't know a lot about medical sales before I heard this, even though we've talked. So yeah, if you want to talk to Chris, just go out in the hall and talk to him. trying to think if there's anything else. Next week, we're having a LinkedIn tutorial from Steve Davis. He's the alumni networking specialist. And I recommend all you guys to come. Like Chris was saying, LinkedIn is huge. Whether you're going into sales or hospital administration, you know, it really makes you look professional. It really is a non-threatening way to get to know people and find opportunities. And I'm excited to come to improve my LinkedIn. So connect with Chris. We should all connect with each other. Is there any other things that anybody has to say before we close this up? Okay, just come next week. It'd be great. Did everyone have a chance to sign the roll?